And welcome back. Insightful conversation about the Black Star Squad by Muftal Gariel Smith. And we move on to the discussion of the day about the SML contract between them and GRA and also the Finance Ministry. And as you know, conversations have been heating up on X, and President Akufo Addo has been trending number 3 on Twitter, formerly Twitter, X I mean. Well, he has ordered an audit into the contract between the Ghana Revenue Authority and Strategic Mobilization Limited. He has, in the press release, it has received a flurry of responses. The minority leader, Cassiel Etoforsin, has reacted. Bryce Simmons has reacted. Ben Boche has also reacted. The story continues to boil, and we are getting into the heat of things. And on your screen now is that particular press statement released by the presidency on what President Akufo Addo is seeking that KPMG appointed to audit that particular contract should do. And the terms of reference, according to this statement, are as follows. It says, 1, the KPMG should conduct an audit to ascertain the rationale or needs assessment performed prior to the contract approval by GRA and assess how the arrangement aligns with specific needs, assess the appropriateness of the contracting methodology, verifying compliance and legal standards and industry best practices in the procurement process for the selection of SML, and also to evaluate the degree of alignment between current activities and the stipulated contract scope, identifying any deviations, evaluate the value or benefits that SML has so far offered to the GRA through this engagement, and also review the financial arrangements, including pricing structures, payment terms, and resolution of any financial compliances issues, and then submit their findings together with appropriate recommendations in 2 weeks. The President has also indicated that the Ghana Revenue Authority and the Ministry of Finance to suspend the performance of the contract pending the submission of the audit report. And I have on the line Manasseh Azure of the Fourth Estate, who also led the investigations into this particular contract. Manasseh, good morning and Happy New Year to you.
Good morning and Happy New Year to you and all the viewers of Joy News.
Well, briefly, how has your New Year been? I mean, from the 31st night into New Year, really, how has it been for you?
Well, the New Year hasn't been bad, but mainly boring because the weather is so cold that you cannot go out and enjoy any proper sunshine or even so. We are in here and monitoring developments back home.
Right. Now you enjoy and appreciate the weather here in your home country.
Well, I've always appreciated the weather back home. It's one of the biggest blessings we take for granted because others travel miles, spend so much to experience that weather. And back home, I didn't like air conditioning. But to realize that you are walking a deep freezer around is another trouble altogether. So
interesting. Well, Manasseh, let's get into it, right? I just read the details of what President Akufo Addo is expecting KPMG to do to audit this particular contract that you investigated, a whole year of investigation into this particular contract. How significant is the President's decision for KPMG to audit the contract?
Well, it is significant and commendable that the President is taking an interest in this matter. But the problem here is the end game. I am wondering what it is that the President wants to achieve with this audit. I'm saying this because the last investigation I did, which President Akufo Addo ordered an action, was the contracts for sale scandal in 2019. A day after that story, the President suspended the CEO of the Public Procurement Authority and referred the matter to the Commission on Human Rights and Administrative Justice, SHRAJ, and also the Office of the Special Prosecutor to do further probing. The result of that is clear for everyone to see. The president fired or dismissed the CEO of PPA, Ejinin Boateng Ejay, after SHRAJ completed its investigation. And then the Office of the Special Prosecutor is now prosecuting ABAJ and his brother-in-law, Francis Ahin, in court. Then this investigation, he orders KPMG or appoints KPMG to do an audit. The question is, why not the SHRAJ or the OSP? Why an audit and not an investigation? And so the end game is what I'm not very sure about. As you rightly said, it is receiving a lot of attention on social media. And a good number of people are saying that, look, this is an attempt to whitewash the scandal and then allow it to pass. And I am tempted to think that perhaps KPMG, which has experienced reputational problems elsewhere, including South Africa in recent times, may not want to tamper with his integrity in this matter because the issues are pretty known. And so if I were in the shoes of the president, I would do something different other than what he wants KPMG to do.
Well, Manasseh, the president's terms of references are very clear. I mean, these are very important questions that we need answers to. And you still think that the president should have done things differently? What differently?
Well, the president has more powers than any of those institutions that have expressed interest in working on this, the OSP and also Parliament. Now, the question is, what isn't clear from that documentary or the evidence that is out there? A company claims to be doing work that is stopping under declaration or under reporting. It claims to be tackling diversion. It claims to be tackling dilution and all other problems. And as a result of doing this, it saves Ghana billions of cedis. This company is confronted by investigative journalists who provide evidence that a company is not doing any of these services and that other companies and the National Petroleum Authority are performing these roles. So what you claim to be doing cannot be true. The company says, yes, we admit what we publish on our website isn't true. And by the end of the day, the company proceeds to delete the said services that were said to be saving Ghana money from its website. It is clear. The company claims to have saved 3 billion cedis. And when you look at the documentary, we make mention of the increment in revenue in the period. And bodies such as ACEP, Africa Center of Energy Policy, have done even more detailed analysis of the figures using GRA's own figures, which point to the fact that it is indeed not true that volumes increased the way GRA even claims it did. That in 2022, volumes rather reduced or decreased. So, what basis should we continue to pay? If I were the president, the only part of the contract I would order an audit would be the existing ones that were signed in 2019. But the new and consolidated one, that is to expand the company's operations to the gold and minerals mining sectors and also the upstream petroleum sector. That is earning the company about $90 million a year. If you add the existing one, which is about $20 million, we should be talking about $110 million in a year. But the new ones, there is absolutely no justification for keeping it for even a day. And if I were the president, I would straight away cancel or discontinue that one, which is yet to be executed anyway, and then proceed to order an audit or a proper investigation of the existing ones, so that if monies are spent that are not supposed to have been spent, people should be held accountable and we should be demanding refund.
Well, in your investigation, you said the contract was supposed to have last 10 years. They are explaining that it's rather 5 years. What do you have to say about this?
I think we have said a lot on this. It appears that what we were given, we never got any response from them when we wrote to them. So they say it's 5 years. Let's go with 5 years. They say it's 5 years, renewable for another 5 years. So let's go with the 5 years. It doesn't make any sense to be paying this company over $100 million for 5 years, subject to another 5-year renewal, if what they are saying is what should happen. So the duration is not the most important thing here. The most important thing is that this first contract they even signed in 2019, it's in its 4th year now, and they've just amended it. So that contract alone is going to go for 9 years. I mean, the original one is going for 9 years, even if you are dealing with your 5-year thing. And we know that once these contracts come on board, they stay forever. And there are many of such examples. The problematic Zoomlion contract was signed for 2 years, subject to another 2-year renewal. That was in 2006. We are in 2024, 18 years, it is still on. So the duration is not a problem at all. Whether 10 years or 5 years, renewable for another 5 years, this contract doesn't deserve to exist for even a day. If you listen to players in the industry, if you listen to the GRA, if you listen to MPA, if you listen to SML, even in this documentary.
Well, Manasseh, let me get your point of view on this. I mean, you've also questioned, not questioned, but you're having some reservations for KPMG investigating this. I know you petitioned the special prosecutor to look into the matter. Do you still insist the special prosecutor should have been the one to go into this?
Yes, the special prosecutor should go into it. Parliament wants to go into it. But if the president wants to act at this stage, there is enough evidence to have taken certain actions without this auditing. The question is, in 2 weeks, what will KPMG be able to cover? It took us about a year to do this investigation. And I don't say that anybody that goes on a lot of the work already. But in 2 weeks, will KPMG be able to speak to all the interested parties, interview relevant players, including independent people who have knowledge of this technical subject matter? Will it be able to visit the MPA, look at the structure they have, go to the depots, visit SML, and all cover every other part? They say they should go to the oil production sector upstream. Are they going to go to the drill ships to find out, okay, what, or the oil ships where we produce oil to find out the system that are already in place? Are they going to go to the gold mining companies to look at the setups, the gold rooms, to see what the PP, MC, and GRA officials, their roles in the various mining sectors? So the question really is, if you are giving someone 2 weeks to come out with this, what you call an audit, not an investigation, it might as well perhaps rely mainly on the administrative processes. Did this contract follow due procedure? Yes, they say, well, it went through PPA approval and all of that, but we know some of the most fraudulent deals in this country have the backing of the Public Procurement Authority, and the PPA itself was caught in a scandal. So we may end up taking the administrative boxes and going through documents and perhaps not getting to the bottom of this. And that is what I am wondering what the end game of the president is. Are we going to see what the so-called clearinghouse thing, or the president really wants to act? So as to whether they will do a good job or not, or whatever will come out of it, we are all going to be monitoring, because the issues are out there. And the question we are asking is, as we stand, SML Ghana has been given a contract that will ensure that every liter of fuel that is consumed in Ghana, the company has a percentage that where they will receive as money. Every barrel of fuel that will be produced in Ghana, SML would have a percentage. Every ounce of gold that is produced in Ghana, this company will have a percentage. And at the end of the day, it is entitled to over $100 million every single year. That is 1.2 billion Ghana cedis every year. The question is, what is this company doing to deserve this? And if you watch the documentary fully, you would appreciate that this company doesn't deserve a pesewa of our revenue.
Right, Manasseh, thank you very much. And as I said earlier on, there's been some reactions coming from the minority in Parliament. And right on your screen on X, Cassiel Atuforsen has been responding to the president's letter. And he says, President Akufo Addo's appointment of KPMG to audit the so-called Revenue Assurance Agreement between the Ghana Revenue Authority and Strategic Mobilization Limited has come too late in the day. He says Parliament has already directed the Finance Committee to audit the infamous agreement, and the committee is actively seized of the matter. The president, who should have led this fight in the wake of this scandal, is playing catch-up, since Parliament has also directed GRA to suspend all payments to SML. This whitewashing attempt by the president in the name of an audit will not dissuade Parliament from looking into this matter to stop the siphoning of state resources into the private pockets of government officials and their crony business partners. So that is coming from Cassiel Atuforsen. And Bryce Simmons has also been responding, and he says KPMG's practice oversight bosses should prudently preserve the firm's reputation and drop this assignment. This issue is a hot political potato right now. The nature of the allegations requires an in-depth look by state bodies with the right powers and independence. KPMG has neither. And so, once again, somebody is questioning KPMG taking up this particular audit. Well, there's been reactions. There's been reactions coming through to this one. But let's go back to Manasseh and get his reaction. Manasseh, this is what Cassiel Atuforsen and Bryce Simmons are also saying on this particular audit. And it seems Bryce Simmons agrees with you that KPMG must not audit this. What do you have to say?
Well, I think I've made my point, and my point is that it depends on what the president seeks to achieve with this. If he really wants drastic action, he has enough information to take that action, pending what the other bodies are likely to come out with. So if I were the president, the consolidated contract should be off, because it has no legs to stand on. And then any review or investigation should focus on the existing ones.
Okay. I think there's been also some reactions on X about this particular thing, and my director should put that on the screen now so that we'll be able to get the responses of people on this particular reaction. But before then, we'll go to, we'll read this from Ben Boache on X, and he has also been saying that KPMG has its integrity at stake if it accepts this job. It is a client of GRA, and its investigation against the leaders of one of its large portfolios is exceedingly suspicious, simply unethical. Wow. So Manasseh, it looks like Ben Boache, Bright Simmons, Cassiel Atuforsen are all against this particular audit. And you've also indicated that the special prosecutor should be the one to stand in to take this. But I mean, with all these coming up, what will be the way forward for the president right now? I mean, he has, talked to KPMG to take this out. KPMG, we don't know yet what their reaction is going to be, but what then? What next? What next for the fourth estate?
Well, it should be what next for Ghanaians, because the fourth estate brought this out. But this money is not the fourth estate money. It is money belonging to all Ghanaians. Almost all the time, we hear that they are expanding the tax net and they are introducing many taxes. But if you introduce taxes and then you plug in these dubious deals that siphon so much taxes, then you are asking the GRA and others to go for taxes, and then you, instead of using those taxes to develop the country, those taxes are siphoned by very shady deals. And these revenue assurance deals are not new in this country. 11 years ago, that was 2013, we started talking about Suba Info Solutions. Then it used to be GVG, then Suba, then Kelny GVG, AfriWave, and all of those things. You go into them and you don't really see any value. What happens in this country is that when we have politicians take up power, instead of finding ways of increasing the tax net or getting more people to pay taxes, they mainly try to get companies with political affiliations and sometimes with various interests to get into the system. And it takes so much away. When you look at the amount of money that will be going to SML every year per this consolidated deal, it is more than the total amount of money that we will be getting from that we are getting from the e-levy, the electronic transaction levy. This e-levy has caused a lot of harm politically, even to the governing party. This e-levy has caused a lot of harm to the mobile money industry. So why would a government bring this levy, saying that it is very necessary for our survival, despite all the resistance? And then just one contract, we are losing more than how much you'll be earning from this e-levy. SML is not alone. There are many of such deals. So if we're minded to stop these leakages, we would have no business going to the IMF and all the troubles that brings. So what next should be? Ghanaians should rise up and demand justice on how their funds or money is used. Because at the end of the day, all of these have an effect on everybody in different ways. You either go to the hospital, there are no beds. People are dying across the country because we have only a few dialysis centers. So if you have kidney failure, you are likely to die. An average person who is rushed to the hospital with an emergency situation is likely to be told that there are no beds, and people die from very avoidable sicknesses. In the whole of northern Ghana, as of last year, my father had a spinal problem and we needed an MRI scan. We had to bring him to Accra because there wasn't a machine in the whole of northern Ghana. This is the country we live in. So if you see hundreds of millions of cedis and dollars going away, then it is everybody's concern. And Ghanaians should wake up and then demand action. I think all of these misgivings are coming because there isn't much trust in the presidency, because a number of scandals in the past were whitewashed and the people cleared in a way that a majority of Ghanaians thought wasn't the right thing to do. So when you see all of these reactions coming, it shows some lack of trust in the office of the president to do what is right. And we hope that he will, on this matter, prove his doubters wrong.
Well, we see where this leads to. Thank you so much, Manasseh Azuri-Awuni, the editor for the Fourth Estate. And that's how we end that discussion on the SML GRA contract. Well, the other question is, when is the president reshuffling his team? Who do you think is tired and must go? We'll touch base with our correspondents in Kumasi and, of course, here in Accra to find out and get reactions on X as well on what people are saying about that. We'll be right back.